Okay, so now we're going to look at something a little different. So far we've looked at the bind, which is geocentric. That means no matter where in the timeline you change the weights, they're going to be the same weights throughout. It's geocentric, not time-centric. Next, we looked at animation layers. This allows you to actually tweak the animation itself to help offset the differences between the proportions of the person who is in the mocap suit and the character to make your animation look better that way. The next thing we're going to look at is corrective blend shapes. This is a time-centric way to change the look of the character. Now you've had a little bit of experience with blend shapes and character rigging when you dealt with the facial blend shapes. Now we're going to look at how we can use those to help fix our body. Let's say that no matter what you did, you just couldn't get this armpit to look the way you wanted. Painted weights, it'll look good going up, then look bad going down, or vice versa. And it only really needs fixing in maybe frames 1 through 15 or so. That's what corrective blend shapes are for. It's a time-centric way to fix the look of the character. So the first thing we need to do is we need to make an actual blend shape. So I'm going to go into the skin cluster and I'm going to turn that envelope to 0. And that basically just kills the bind. And then I'm going to duplicate this guy and I'm going to unlock those channels. Right click, unlock. That allows me to just move them over to the side. And I'm going to call this my clean body. Now remember, you never ever ever want to freeze transforms on a blend shape. Maya needs to know where it is relative to the T-pose position of the character. And then I'm going to grab this clean body and I'm going to duplicate it again. By having that clean body, I can just keep duplicating this guy for every blend shape I need to make. So now I have a nice clean body, and let me go ahead and turn his skin cluster back on so we can see our bind. And let's say that I wanted to work on that left shoulder. Well, I'm going to go ahead and name this now. So I'll call it my left shoulder. I use COR for corrective. And then I always put F for frame and then what frame I want that to be on. That way it's just a reminder to myself what I'm fixing and when in the timeline I'm trying to fix it. And then I'm going to grab this guy and I'm going to shift select my bound guy. And I'm going to go to the rigging, deform, and this is the first blend shape I'm making for it, so I need to create the blend shape node. Now a quick reminder under the advanced tabs, you have automatic and you have parallel. Leave it on automatic. The difference is parallel blenders allow you to have multiple blend shape nodes. Now sometimes in a bigger production that may be useful. You may have a team working on the eyebrows, a different team working on the mouth, a different team working on the body blends. You bring them all together, and that's what a parallel blender is for. It's kind of like the old switching stations at the train yard. When you have all the trains coming onto the same track, you use the switchers to get them so they can use the same track. The analogy I like to use is, let's say I have 5 blend shapes. Do I want to have 5 cars, maybe, going through a tunnel at the same time? Or would I rather load those 5 cars onto an 18-wheeler and just drive the 18-wheeler straight through? That's why I like using the automatic. And then I will call you blends. And I will click create. And now I have a blend shape node that does nothing, because I haven't modified anything yet. Now I'm going to go into Window, Animation Editor, Shape Editor, and this just gives me easier access to that blend shape node. Plus it gives me access to this Edit button. Ha ha ha! Corrective blend shapes used to be such a pain in the keister until Maya incorporated pose space deformers or correctives into Maya. It's so much easier now. Yay! So basically to fix this, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that blend shape on. That way I can see what I'm fixing as I fix it. And then I'm going to click on the Edit button. And that Edit button allows me to work right on my bound character here to make my fixes. And now you can use any modeling tools you want. I personally am not much of a modeler, I won't lie to you. But I personally like using the Sculpt Geo tool. I know this has been divided up into like 25 tools now, but I like having the one tool that has everything right here. I usually use the Relax and Smooth a lot. So let's see what Relax does. That pulls that out a little bit. A little bit of Smooth. Now remember, you're allowed to have some pinching in here, because our body does pinch. But you want to make sure it looks good. And remember also, always go back to your camera angle. Remember, that's what matters, is that final result. Remember, when you go to the movie theaters, yes, in our field we may think about the 3D aspect of things, but normal people only see that 2D representation that's on that final product of that film. That's what matters. So I'll always keep that in mind. And once I get this looking the way I want, I just unclick the edit button, and now, ready for the magic? Ew. Ha ha ha. Ew. Ha ha ha. So now I have a time-based way to fix that armpit. And I can keyframe it, and then when I don't need it anymore, I can keyframe it off. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, that used to be such a pain. Now it's a lot easier. So, let's say that I needed to fix another area. Let's see if I can find another area that's... Well, let's look at the back of the leg here. Let's say I just couldn't get that pinch looking the way I wanted. Well, I could create another corrective blend shape. So I'm going to grab my clean body. I'm going to duplicate them again. And I'll move them off to the side. And I'll call this my left knee corrective frame 1. And then I'm going to apply this as a blend shape. But this time, I don't want to create a blend shape node because I already have my blend shape node. I want to edit that existing one and add to it. Go into the option box, click on specify node. I only have one node, so it'll always preload it for me. And click apply and close. And now I have my next one. And I can do the exact same process. Turn it on to make sure I can see my changes. Click on edit. Go back into my modeling tools. And then I can go and work this until I get it looking exactly the way I want. Once I get it looking the way I want, unclick edit. Ew. Ha ha ha. Ew. Ha ha ha. Keyframe it, and away we go. Pretty cool, huh? So now we've looked at the bind, which is geocentric, the correctives, which are time-centric, and the animation layers that allow you to actually fix the proportional difference and even tweak the animation some to make it look better for your actual final product. Cool, cool.